what are we actually dealing with? What are the facts? What's the science behind this? And I also take on board the fact that everybody here has a passionate interest in the flora and fauna of our state. Indeed, how well are we looking after it? And it has to be said, I think we would all agree that we have not done a great job. In comparison to all other parts of the world, we are sensitized, I'm sure, but the problems that we are facing worldwide in the loss of species, flora and fauna, should trouble us all. And so I do thank the Honourable Brad Pettit for bringing this disallowance motion forward. I do appreciate that it's not going to be carried, but I did want to have my voice out here supporting this disallowance motion for the simple reason that I'm not absolutely certain that the balance, as you have said, Honourable Member, has been found. And so it would be wise, I think, to take time to have a look at this again, because it could be possible that we are undermining this Act, but its very design, a good design, I do appreciate that, to impose requirements upon business, upon agriculture, upon development, for ensuring that we do not destroy the environment, or at least bring species to the brink of extinction when we should not be doing this. Now, I recall reading just recently how rich our flora and fauna are. Dr. Paul Fogel, then chairman of the WA Environmental Protection Agency, who noted, and I do quote, WA has about half of the total flora for Australia. 141 of Australia's 207 mammal species call WA home, and there are more plants in the Fitzgerald River National Park than in the entire United Kingdom. This amazed me. Now, that quote is from 2013, and things certainly have changed since then. And also, from my point of view, from my electorate of East Metropolitan, the Perth Hills and all the natural beauty are also at risk from bushfires, but also with a home to flora and fauna which deserves protection. And I do have a level of concern that this exemptions amendment order could tip the balance even further when it comes to bushfire mitigation. Now, we have all seen the catastrophe we've had recently with these fires ripping through. Yes, we could be happy that lives have not been lost, even if property was destroyed. But my heart breaks when I consider the damage done to the fauna, not just the sheep and the cattle, but also the natural fauna, who have suffered tremendously. And anything we can do to reduce this risk would be a good idea. Now, one of the things that I would be looking at, of course, is with the benefit of 40 or 60,000 years of experience from our Indigenous population, have we actually adopted the practices which have been keeping this state of ours, this nation of ours, in a relatively stable form? Have we actually consulted widely with those who've borne over the generations the experience of actually ensuring that their food resources have been met, what they're going to eat, both in the flora and the fauna, and ensuring a balance has been kept? I think there's an untapped resource there. I'm happy to be educated otherwise, that this has a resource has been tapped. But if not, I would encourage that we look even further into that. Because what we're having here with the Clause 7, and particularly Part 2 of that, is exemptions which clearly indicate that bushfire mitigation trumps environmental protection. And I'm not quite certain, I can appreciate that. But my heart tells me that we ought to have a closer look at this. Is the balance quite correct? Because we're maybe giving free slather to people to modify a threatened ecological community, or take advantage, take or disturb the fauna, or threaten fauna from an area. So this could, in fact, be seen as a get-out-of-jail-free card. And I would much rather that the present laws were applied to it. And we could look at the individual needs on a case-by-case basis. So the checks and balances would need to be retained. Now, you could argue it's maybe just too hard, and I would appreciate there are issues with this, with the administrative burden, but I'm not certain that's an argument I would care to take too far. Because is our state worth looking after properly, putting the energy and indeed the costs, the expenses into it? I think, yes, we have a beautiful state. And exemptions, I'm not certain, are the way forward. I do understand on all sides that good intent is here, the effort is being made. I would simply be cautioning here that we would be wise to have a closer look at this. So the exemption, So disallowing this motion would give us more time to look at this in more detail, and it wouldn't be a forever, no, we're not going to do this. I would agree the changes could well be made, but have we made them in the right manner just now? So I would be suggesting don't use this Act designed to protect our native flora and fauna to do the opposite of what we want, of what we hope to do, simply because it might be too much work. Now, I'm trivialising this. I apologise for that, but in short words, in the short time I would like to take up with this chamber, I would like to see effort put into this to establish, if I could summarise, that we are using the knowledge of our Indigenous brethren, that we are able to take that and put it into practice in our lives here, that we can more naturally manage our native life, animal and plant, and that we could then help recover endangered species from extinction and do our best to reclaim our state as a place which could be a jewel in this world.